Good morning to all the distinguished guests, respected organizers, industry professionals, industry representative professionals, and dear participants. It is indeed a privilege for me to be present here to share a few thoughts on a very important subject, that is GST reforms and sectoral growth, unlocking potential in manufacturing, services, e-commerce, insurance, healthcare, and real estate. It is presented by Indian Council of Social Science Research and St. Francis Institute of Management and Research in collaboration with ICCISR. I sincerely thank organizers for inviting me this forum and for giving the opportunity to interact with such a knowledgeable and responsible audience. As we know, the introduction of goods and service taxes is a significant tax reforms in the history of economy of India. So everybody is talking about the GST reforms, but why it was required and what was the taxation system before introduction of GST, we should understand first of all. Then we can understand the reforms, what happened. It's an indirect tax, means not directly collected from the consumer. So we appoint an agent as a businessman who is providing services or goods to you. So actually he is the agent on behalf of government who is collecting the tax. That's why it's an indirect tax. And in case of direct tax, that's the income tax. It is directly paid by the person who is having the income which is taxable. So in case of indirect taxes, we were continuously increasing the tax rates because of the cascading effect. Now in the ideal taxation system, there should not be any cascading effect. It is not an ideal system. So how it was before understanding the GST reforms, we should understand the difficulties we were facing. So in first phase, when we are selling the goods out of Maharashtra, then we had to levy 2% tax on those goods. So suppose any person from the Maharashtra is selling the goods to the Karnataka person, then he has to levy the 2% tax, and there was no input tax credit. There was no input tax credit for that 2 rupees. So it was the cost. And again, in Karnataka, tax was levied on not 100, it was on 102. So if the tax rate is 10% and the reform is not there, it's a technical word. If the Maharashtra person is levying 10 rupees tax on 100, then the cost was, Karnataka person was 110, and he has to levy the taxes on 110. So that way, in every stage, the price was increasing and there was no input tax credit. So 110 tax was levied. Then again, if he is selling the goods on 120, then on 120 tax was being levied. So there was a cascading effect, and at every stage, goods or services become the costlier. This was the first difficulty. And the second difficulty, if the manufacturer having the procuring the goods from other, we can take the example of the vehicle, manufacturer of vehicle. If he is procuring the tires and the switches and the steel and all these things, though he has to pay the taxes on goods and he is getting the input tax credit, but on services, means manufacturer of automobile was not getting the input tax of on the services. So again, that was the cost added into the price of that vehicle. So that way there were two most difficulties taxation, indirect taxation system was facing. That first was the cascading effect and not getting the input credit of the services in case of manufacturer. And if the service provider is there, if he is providing any services, means the software company who is supplying the software, we were having the intangible goods also, but other services where he is providing the services, he was not able to get the input tax credit of goods. That way, on every stage, the price was going higher and higher, and we were not competitive in the international market because of this cascading effect. So the GST reforms happened, and all these difficulties were phased out. We were having so many 17 to 18 indirect taxes, and those were subsumed. And then by the introduction of GST, we could say that there is a one nation and one tax, the first of all. And another difficulty was there. We don't had the ultimate taxation system, which is saying that on the destination base or the consumption basis taxation. If the goods are traveling from one state to another, the tax was not flowing with that. The input tax credit was not flowing with that. And if any state is consuming the goods, there was not sure that that state will get that benefit of the consumption of the goods. And with the introduction of GST, we achieved that. So that way, GST reforms happened. And with the introduction of this GST, the various tax were subsumed. That was the VAT, service tax, excise duty, entry tax. And the compliance become very easier, transparent, and the administration was also improved, tax administration. And we can say that with the GST reform, we could introduce the ease of doing business with the implementation of GST, because the compliance was become very simplified, and the tax person, where he has to comply with the multiple departments, I mean the excise department, then the VAT department, then the octroi, the local taxes. So he has to comply only one tax administration, that is the GST administration. So with this implementation, we move forward, but the success is not totally dependent upon the legislation and policy making. It requires the same response from the business community. And in case of GST, we discussed with the Gosar sir and Gadia ji that how the response from the business community and the tax collection is showing the response. Now we are having 2 lakh crores per month collection, which is huge in case of India, with the help of all states and the stakeholders. Without support of technology, it was not feasible at all. And with the GSTN, I was the part of that all technology support, and Gadia ji, and we worked together so many times. And the robust system, which is designed by Mr. Nandan Nilekani for Infosys, is the architecture of the GSTN system, and only one front-end support, that is GSTN. The taxpayer can submit his registration application, submit his returns, submit the application for refund, and so many things can be done by the single portal only. And the huge challenge was about the returns, that all India taxpayers will submit their returns within a 10 days of window, and it was successfully accepted that challenge. And at the inception, at the time of inception, 14 lakh taxpayers were registered on the GSTN portal, and we smoothly handled that load. And this is the biggest taxation system in the world, and we are leading, and we are trying to make more facilities, introduce facilities to the taxpayer. E-way bill is one of that facility. Then the e-invoice is also the facility we are providing. And the QRMP means quarterly return. So if the startups are there and the new registration obtained by any taxpayer, and if his turnover is not, taxable turnover is not more than certain limits, then he can submit this quarterly return. He need not to file monthly return, and he just has to make the payment monthly only. So this is the very beneficial system for the low turnover business. Then I request all the taxpayers from this forum, from the government of Maharashtra and government of India, GST, from GST department, that the bookkeeping is the important factor in case of compliance. So from this forum, I request all the people and all the participants and the professionals that bookkeeping, if the bookkeeping is not means according to the provision of law, then there will be certain difficulties faced by the taxpayers, because we are introducing AI. You know the case of that Hyderabadi biryani, where we have unearthed the tax evasion of 70,000 crores with the help of Hyderabad Biryani. That issue has happened, where there was a POS system. The restaurants owners were deleting their cash invoices and paying the taxes on the online payment only. And with the help of EII, we got the control of that server, and we unearthed the tax evasion tuned to the 70,000 crores. So from this platform, I request all the stakeholders to keep their books of account updated. So it will not happen, and we will not visit your premises, or we will not call you in our offices. The second thing is important, that the continuous amendment is happening in GST. We are issuing circulars, we are issuing notifications, and the amendments are happening. So if you are unaware about all these happenings in GST, so then certain compliance may not be done by you, and then there will be a penalty and interest and all these things. So you should be vigilant about the amendments and all these things. And we are not having the approach of the enforcement. We are not there to just penalize you. We are implementing agency, so we are ready to help you. So at any point of time, you can visit our offices. Even I can invite Sinha ma'am, that you can bring your students to our department. They can visit our premises, and you can have the look how the department is functioning, what is our approach.
Thank you very much.
So it will greatly help to the student to understand. So we are having office at Bandra also. You can visit Bandra or Mazgaon premises, and how we analyze the data, how we find the taxpayers who are not compliant, where the compliance is missing, and that way we issue the notices very few taxpayers. So this was the approach, and certain things we are also thinking, or we are trying to implement. The first and foremost thing is that voluntary compliance. We are expecting, this is the self-assessment procedure where you file the return. So we are expecting voluntary compliance. If the compliance is okay, then we will not verify the books of account, we will not visit the premises. Then there should be a data-driven tax administration. We should just go by the data, not the gut feeling or just doubting the taxpayers. We will not do that. We are trying to implement the tax-driven administration. This is our objective. And we are trying to reduce the litigations. So it is totally depend upon your response, how you respond, and how you try to reduce the litigation. And we are promoting digitalization and automation in compliance. So that way we are thinking that whenever you punch the invoice, it will automatically post on the server, and that way you will not need to verify your purchase register, ITC register, match with the 2A, 2B. These are the technical words. You are not related to that, but you need not to verify your input tax credit. It will be automatically credited into your account by the posting the invoice. So with this, before I conclude, I would like to once again appreciate the efforts of the organizers for conducting this seminar. Such initiatives help bridge the gap between tax authorities and stakeholders and contribute to building the better understanding of GST framework. I am confident that today's 2 days seminar will provide valuable insight and practical guidance to all participants. Thank you all for your attention. I wish the seminar great success and fruitful deliberation. Thank you so much.